podcast with your host, Glenn Johnson. Today you will learn techniques for permanent weight loss and improved overall health.
Yes. This is the Live Fit podcast. I'm your host, Glenn Johnson. We are in episode 26. Today, I'm going to tell you all about a really effective and efficient way of exercising. This technique will help you lose more fat, increase your endurance, increase your strength, increase your bone strength, improve your energy, and improve your confidence, all in a very, very short period of time. This technique is called high-intensity interval training. But please don't be intimidated by it. I'm going to show you how this can be done by virtually everybody. If you can move, if you can exercise, if you can jog, if you can ride a stationary bike or swim, you can do high-intensity interval training. The intervals are very short. The high intensity is very short. I will tell you all about it right after a word from our sponsor.
The Live Fit Lean 28-Day Weight Loss Solution. Get a full 28-day meal plan, shopping list, recipes, snack menu, and exercise program you can do at home, all for just $67. Don't delay. Check out livefitlean.com today.
Now, I know the phrase high-intensity interval training can sound pretty intimidating to most people, especially if you're not very athletic. But today I'm going to show you how and why this type of training can be good for you. Everybody, anybody can push themselves beyond what they're used to. And that's really all high-intensity interval training is. You want to bring your effort to a high intensity. A lot of people spend time in the low, what used to be called the fat burning zone, and that's kind of comfortable and you feel like you're doing something. It's harder than walking, but it's not really enough to push yourself beyond. And that's why I want to convince you to at least try some high intervals. Now, how do you know if it's for you? Well, do you want to get stronger? Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to get faster? Do you want to feel more energetic? Do you want to lose body fat? All these things will be benefited by interval training. So if you've answered yes to any of those, then interval training is for you. Now, cardio or endurance activities are kind of outdated. They don't do as much as people like to think they do. I know people who will get on a treadmill or an elliptical and spend 30, 40, 60 minutes at a pretty moderate rate, continuous rate, and it does okay at kind of maintaining your weight, your body fat, your body composition, but it doesn't really do as much as they want it to. Most people eventually get used to it. Actually, you get used to it in a pretty short amount of time, and then you're much more efficient at it. So in order to break that efficiency, you need to change up your program. And that is the beauty of intervals, because you're never going to become so efficient at it that you plateau. And that's what happens when you get on the elliptical for 40 minutes straight. You're not really burning as much energy as you think you are, regardless of what the machine says. Regardless of how much you're sweating, you're generating heat, you are using some energy, but you're not increasing the fitness of your muscles. You're not increasing the size of your mitochondria, which is what determines how much oxygen you use. More on that in a minute. So I want to convince you to get off of that elliptical, get off of the treadmill, stop spinning your wheels going nowhere slowly. Interval training has been growing in popularity over the last several years due to several research articles that have come out. And these articles have proven that you will increase the amount of stored fat that you burn. You will increase your use of all forms of energy. You have 3 different energy systems in your body, and this works at improving all 3 of them. It will improve your speed, both at sprinting and at steady rate, and I can certainly attest to that. Before I even knew anything about HIIT, I was practicing it without knowing it, and I was doing some high-intensity, fast, short-duration training on a bicycle, and then when I went out and did a long distance, my normal cruising speed was much higher. It was about 2 miles an hour faster, and this was purely by accident. I stumbled across it. HIIT will also improve your aerobic capacity, It'll also improve your anaerobic capacity, so you're functioning with oxygen and above the level at which you can use oxygen. So your high end, it'll improve that, it'll increase that as well. And you know what else? It fights boredom. Why does interval training do all this that I just said? These adaptations are greatly the result of the mitochondria increasing in size to meet the demands made on it by the high-intensity phases. As the mitochondria grows, its ability to use oxygen and energy increases as well. This energy will come from glucose and fat. Due to the high demand for energy, fat will be broken down into glucose very rapidly in order to meet the demands as fuel. As the demand grows, so does the energy system that supplies it. Now, I think it's pretty easy to understand that if you're working hard, working fast, running up a hill, you are demanding more energy to propel yourself. But what you might not realize is after your workout, you're using much more energy than you would had you been going at a moderate pace at a steady rate. Because you brought your body up to its maximal threshold, its 100% effort, it is working really hard to recover. There's something called EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Essentially what that means is afterburn. And the afterburn is the amount of energy used after your workout is complete. This can sometimes last up to 36, maybe 48 hours on a really high effort. I know this myself from a bike race. I can't sleep very well that night. I'm really restless. I have much more energy the next day because my body is working hard to recover. I know you might think that I'd be more tired because the body is trying to recover, but I actually have more energy. More energy is available. More energy is in use. I'm burning many more calories. I might feel tired in a sense. My muscles are directly tired, but my body feels much more alert and alive, especially a couple days later. Because the demand for energy is so high during the workout, the demand for energy is high also after the workout. So it's a three-phase system. You have your energy during the workout, you have your energy increase immediately after, and then the long-term energy increase. But now you're also more able to handle these high efforts. You also have a much more efficient energy system. So your oxygen and glucose and fat breakdown into glucose is much more efficient and actually effective. Now, I say that interval training is challenging, but easy. Well, let's not be mistaken here. It's only easy in the sense that it doesn't take a whole lot to plan it. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of physical effort, and even some mental effort to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. It's very easy to say, I'm going to run as fast as I can to that tree, and then I'm going to jog to the next tree, and then sprint, and then jog, and sprint, and jog. Or if you're on a track, say, I'm going to sprint for one straight section, and then I'm going to jog around the turn, the straight, and then the turn again until I get back to the start, and then I'm going to sprint again. So that part of it's very easy. If you do not go all out, you are not going to see the benefits that you expect and that you would if you were to push it a little bit harder. 100% effort is what you need to do. 100% effort. That is how you're going to achieve the benefits that I claimed earlier.
You've been hibernating all winter, staying warm and cozy in your heated house, eating great comforting food, but what you haven't done is taken care of your body, and your body is sad. But there is a quick and easy answer. The Live Fit Lean 28-day weight loss solution will show you how you can get fit, get lean, and stay that way all year. Take advantage of this new program created with the feedback from Live Fit participants. For a limited time, get the program for the one-time price of just $67. LiveFitLean.com.
The rules of high-intensity interval training are really quite simple. You have two phases, a high phase and a low phase. You can do this on any type of exercise or movement that you would do with cardio. You can do it running, you can do it on a treadmill or outside, you can do it on a bike, inside or outside, you can do it on an elliptical or a rower, an erg, or an actual boat. Even swimming. but it has to be something that you can go instantaneous from a moderate pace to a high pace and then slow it back down again. Outside is generally easier for this. Treadmills make it very, very difficult to get that instantaneous response. I do not recommend a treadmill, but a stationary bike is good. A rowing erg is good, and anything outside is probably going to be your best bet. So the high phase, 100% effort. The low phase, this is your recovery phase. It should be around 70% of your effort. You don't want to stop. You don't want to go from a sprint to a walk. We want to keep our body moving a little bit quicker. In fact, you can think of the 70% phase at the speed that you would run if you're going to go out and run for about your longest length of time. If you normally run 5 miles, then that's your pace. That's your recovery pace. If you're going to run 3 miles, that's your recovery pace. So now you're just going to throw sprints in, and then you're going to slow back down. Throw in a sprint, slow back down. How long should these sprints be? Well, they can be anywhere from, depending on your fitness level, I would say 8 to 20 seconds. Go as long as you can. Most people are going to see their peak right about at the 10, 11, 12 second range, and then their energy is just going to plummet. Exponentially, they're going to lose energy, and it's going to require more and more and more effort just to try to sustain their speed. So go for at least 10 seconds. I think anybody could go for 10 seconds. I say 8 just because I don't know what your fitness level is. But push it to 10 seconds and then push it longer after you've done it a few times. How often? Once a week, twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. Do not do it in consecutive days. So you could go out and do some intervals on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday and Friday, whenever you want, just not 2 days in a row. Quality over quantity. It is much, much, much more important to do 1 or 2 cycles of these intervals that are of high quality than to try to do 5 poor ones. If you kind of do it, it kind of works. So I don't want you to go out there and give a half-effort sprint of 85% and think that you're going to benefit the same as if you were doing that at a full effort. I would rather see you go out there and do 1 or 2 really strong, high intensity, 100% effort sprint cycles than to do more at less than that. So even 1 will be more beneficial than doing 5 partial ones. A sprint cycle would be, or a cycle would be 1 high and 1 low. That's 1 cycle. So regardless of how long the high is or how long the low is, that's 1 cycle. We need to have that low cycle at a true recovery rate. This is called active recovery, and the body recovers best while it's moving. If you go from a sprint and just stop, all that blood is going to be rushing down to the legs, and it's going to stay there. It's going to pool in your legs, which is really not good for your circulation. It expands the blood vessels in your legs, stretches them out. It removes the ability of the legs to pump the blood back in. It also makes it a lot harder for the heart because now the heart has to push the blood down and try to push it back up. If you walk, you have what's called the skeletal muscle pump. If your legs are moving, your movement of your muscles will actually pump the blood back up towards the heart. It only goes one way. It'll go back up to the heart. So you're better off moving than not moving at all. If you're very faint and you just can't stand to be upright anymore, then lay down with your legs elevated above you. Or walk. You can walk at a slow pace. This is if you're really bad off. Barring that, if you think you can, at least get going as much as you can. Try to keep your effort up to 60 or 70%. This is helping to push that mitochondria larger because as it's trying to recover, you're still using oxygen and energy. And while it's supplying the energy for what you're currently doing, it's also trying to make up for what you just did. Now, there's 2 different theories or strategies for doing these intervals. I'm going to say one's called freeform or fartlek, and the other is structured. I do both myself. A lot of people really like to have definite, solid goals. They like to know what's coming, what they're doing, how long they're going to be doing it. I admit it is easier to run all out if you know it's going to be for 15 seconds rather than some open period of time that relies on your willpower to push it beyond. But the fartleks or the free form is just basically going out and running at a sprint as hard as you can until you can't sustain that anymore. And then you recover at a jog as long as you need to until you can sprint again and repeat. And those could vary in times, and they will vary in times. As you become more fatigued, the recovery phase will last longer. The sprint phase will probably last shorter. Now, if you like more of a structured, you can take any amount of time and determine how long you're going to sprint and how long you're going to recover. One really easy way to do this is just to take a minute on a clock. Start your sprint at the top of the minute. Sprint for, let's say, 10 seconds. Use the remainder of that minute, 50 seconds, to recover. When you get back to the top, sprint again. Now, you could do a fixed amount, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds every time you do a sprint, or you can do what I call a pyramid, where you would go from a 5 to a 10 to a 15 to a 20-second sprint and then work yourself back down. So 20, 15, 10, 5. And then you could do that over again. You could bring it up higher than 20 seconds if you want to, once you get in really, really good shape. But keep in mind, the longer you sprint, the less time you have to recover. Now, there is no golden rule. There is no magic number that will be effective where another one will not. So if you get up to the 20-second sprint and you just can't recover in 40 seconds to do a 15-second sprint, then take longer. Take another 30. Take another minute after that. Whatever you need, make it work as long as you can push yourself. Give yourself a really high quality, high powered, high phase, sprint phase. One thing I didn't mention before doing any of these sprints, you must give your body a deep warm up. Now, if you live in a hot climate, if it's hot outside, you still can't just go running out your door and sprint. You need to warm up for 5 minutes minimally. If it's cold outside, it's going to be more like 15 or 20 minutes. You also want to give yourself a cool down. This could be less. This could just be walking for 5 minutes or so. It doesn't need to be an actual jog. But it is imperative that you properly warm up your body and your energy systems. You might even want to test the sprint just by breaking into a sprint for 10 steps or something really short, just to give the body a glimpse of what is to come. In summary, high intensity interval workouts consist of a high or a sprint phase that lasts a very short period of time, let's say 12 seconds, and a low or a recovery phase that is going to be a longer duration of time, 1 to 3 minutes. Repeat this cycle, repeat these phases 2 to 8 times depending on your fitness level. It is imperative that the high effort level is at 100%, all out, nothing left behind. Your low phase is going to be around 70%. You can do these workouts 1 to 3 times per week, as long as they're not on consecutive days. Warm up your body and cool down your body at the end. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to email me at glenn@livefitlean.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please take 3 minutes of your time, go onto iTunes and leave a rating or a review. You can find it really easily at livefitlean.com/iTunes. I'd really appreciate it. That's your payment to me. That will help me feel like I'm giving you a valuable service by recording these episodes. Thank you and have a great day. Well, that's it for the show. Thanks for listening. Please keep those reviews coming in iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can subscribe, read the show notes, articles, and all about my weight loss programs at livefitlean.com. Once again, thanks for listening, and always remember to live fit.